everybody, and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole. This week we're having a bit of a diversion from the books because I'm in the middle of designing a new block of the month, and so I thought you might like to see my first block of the month, and this is it right here. So in order to tell you about the block of the month, if you don't know about my block of the month programs, I'm going to start at the beginning because this quilt was not supposed to be the beginning of anything. I had written a bunch of books all in a row, and I was absolutely exhausted, and the books were just coming out and coming out and coming out, and I was completely burnt out, and I decided I was going to have a year of not doing anything. I was going to have a year off, and that lasted about 3 months, and then I got a bit twitchy. I was a bit worried that, you know, everyone would forget about me, as you do when you're in this sort of business. You know, you worry that if you're not in everyone's faces, they'll forget about who you are. But I also, I'm somebody who works. That's what I do. I work and I design and I make things. And so I wanted to do something. So I thought it might be a bit of fun that instead of writing a book, I might do a block of the month program, and 1 or 2 people might like to come and do it with me. I thought maybe I might get 50 people or something, and that'd be really exciting. And so I designed this quilt. I drew up a very, very sketchy sketch, little hand drawing thing of it, popped it up on my website and said, hey, does anyone want to make a quilt with me? Well, it turned out quite a lot of people did want to make a quilt with me, which I was pretty stunned about. Somewhere in the tune of 1,000 people wanted to make a quilt with me, and I was quite stunned. And this quilt is the result. And because it was so popular, I then couldn't stop doing it. Everyone kept saying, what's happening next? What's happening next? And so my quilting journey has kind of transitioned from writing books into block of the month programs and writing books from the block of the month programs. And that's kind of what's happened. So every year I run a block of the month. It's completely online. There's no fabric provided, so that you don't have to have anything posted to you unless you want to. There's optional templates and what have you that go with it. But once the block of the month program is finished, I publish all of the patterns as a book, and the book comes with access to all of the video tutorials that I teach you every single bit. So that's how it all works. This is the very first one. It's called Happy Days, and it's still one of my favorites, and it actually really surprises me that this isn't the most popular quilt out of all of them. It's not. There are some other popular ones. Down the Rabbit Hole is very popular. Coming Home is very popular. Rainy Days and Sun Rays. The Secret Garden, all very, very popular. This one is not one of the most popular ones, and I'm always fascinated why. For 2 reasons. Partly because I absolutely love this black and bright version of the quilt. I actually made this quilt 3 times over. I'm going to show you all 3. But also, this is the quilt that you learn the most on. So of all of my block of the month programs, all of them you learn needle turn applique, you learn some different piecing and all of that sort of stuff. This one, you actually learn like 7 different things in the quilt. So you learn, obviously, my needle turn applique technique, which is what everybody wants out of my block of the months. You learn Dresden plaits, which is, as you know from previous Down the Rabbit Holes, one of my favourite things. This is one of my fabrics in the centre here, by the way, which is kind of fun. There's quite a few of my fabric collection in here. You learn Hawaiian applique, which is this block here. You learn making bias tape, and you learn a little bit of very basic English paper piecing on this block, and there's another one somewhere. Where's the other one? This block. So some little hexies. That's another Hawaiian applique one. You learn foundation paper piecing with this block and this block. You learn what I call step down piecing, which is how this quilt's actually put together. So you can see that none of these blocks are actually in straight lines. Everything is actually put together in a bit of a step. So you learn that method of step down piecing. You learn some very basic, just normal patchwork piecing to make blocks like these. This is some more FPP and some more FPP down here. You learn this little orange peel situation here. And then you also learn the borders. So in the borders, we have these enormous 60-degree triangles, and also my perfect circle technique, which is the other thing that you learn. So this is a lot that you learn in this quilt. The reason that I made the quilt 3 times over is that there's 3 different border options. So in the pattern, you get all 3 border options, and me being a glutton for punishment and having my year off, thought I'd make all 3 quilts. Yes, this year for my block of the month, I'm actually making 2 again, and I swore I'd never do it again, but I have. But anyway, I digress. So yes, now you might be wondering as you look at this, this beautiful quilt, what all of this is. And like all of my quilts, this quilt has a little story, and this one's a bit sad. So this quilt, I made the 3 versions of it, and the other 2 versions I just had edge to edge quilted, but I love this one so much that I thought I would have it custom done. I very rarely have time to hand quilt my block of the month quilts because they are being made into a book almost straight away. So I'm making the quilt at the beginning of the program. You get a sketch, not the actual finished quilt, and then I make the quilt through the videos as I go. So you actually get to see me make it as the year goes. I'm always a couple of months ahead, obviously, and then the block of the month finishes, and then the book's available a couple of months later. So there's no time for me to hand quilt it, and I don't machine quilt. I don't like it. It makes me cross. So I was going to send this one to be custom quilted, and the other 2 I had edge to edge. And my custom quilter at that time had stopped quilting. And I was looking for another one, and I asked the girl who was doing my edge to edges if she could do custom quilting. And she said yes, and quite confidently. And I thought, oh, terrific, this is great. You know, this is not a girl I knew terribly well, but she'd done a very nice job on all my edge to edge pieces. She did have a really nasty habit of trimming all of the pieces that she'd quilted up to the edge. So trimming all of the excess backing and batting off. And I had asked her several times to not do that, but she kept doing it. And so I said to her very specifically, when you do this one, please don't trim it back, please. Please don't trim it back. No, I won't, she says. So when I got the quilt back, and I'm not naming this quilter or anything like that, but when I got the quilt back, let's just say that the custom quilting was awful. I've never seen anything like it. She'd quilted it with black thread, and she'd gone, for example, around that music note, she'd gone just around and around and around and around with black thread. So on the back of the quilt, there was just all this scribbly black mess on the back, and she hadn't filled in anything around. It was not custom quilting as you would think, and I paid a lot of money for it as well. And so I was devastated, and I tried to talk to her about it. She was very angry, and that was all a bit of a mess, and I won't go into it. So this quilt then had to be photographed for the book, and it could not be photographed the way that it had been quilted. So a very, very dear friend of mine, because I was devastated, very, very dear friend of mine offered to unpick the quilting for me, which she did. And I, bless you, Erica, I love you. She unpicked all of the quilting for me. We then shot the quilt for the book flat. So you can't tell, but it hasn't actually been quilted in the photographs. It's a flat top. And then I had somebody else machine based it for me, intending to hand quilt it for future, because I do love it. And I've been so traumatized that it's been sitting in the cupboard ever since, and I haven't hand quilted it. And actually getting it out today has made me want to hand quilt it. I'm now looking at it and going, I love this quilt, and I'm ready to come back to it. This was 2006. So, no, 2016. So it's, it's 10 years ago now, and I'm past it. It's okay. I'm over it. And I'm now going to hand quilt it. Now that it's out and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I love this quilt and I really want it finished. So I'm going to hand quilt it. And I think that there's some beautiful hand quilting to be done on it as well, because there's so many different beautiful shapes and what have you. So I'm actually now really looking forward to hand quilting it. And on the back of all 3 quilts, I have Chula Pink's Freebird situation, which is, these sateen backings are so lovely to hand quilt. So I'm actually really, really looking forward to it, even though all of this particular thing here is linen. This is a linen spot, so it's quite thick. but I will be big stitch quilting it, so I'm not too disturbed by it. There's another little bit of quilting thread. Still getting all the unpicked thread coming out of it. So yeah, so this is the story of the quilt. I hope you love it. I love it. When you buy the pattern book for this quilt, you get all 3 border options. I'm going to show you the other 2 quilts. You get all 3 border options, and you also get all of the different techniques, and the videos teach you every single step. So you will learn to foundation paper piece, you will learn to needle turn applique, you will learn step down piecing. All of these things are all explained in the videos that come with the book. So it really is quite a tutorial, and that's why I'm always fascinated that this is not the most popular one out of all of the block of the months, because it's the one that really is like a massive lesson, and it's also so cute. I mean, look at the little birdie singing. He has a note, and look at the rabbit. He has a name. I can't remember what it is. I think it was Francois. I have a habit of doing things like that. Anyway, this is my Happy Days quilt. This is the black version. This is the most complicated border option. And then the other border options are more simple. So I'm going to show you those now. So here is the second version, so the slightly less complex border version of the quilt. I wanted to make sure that they were all really, really different in character and colour. So this one is all pinks. This quilt, sadly, was one of the quilts damaged in the flood, which you might not be able to see, but I really can. A lot of the fabrics in it should be white, so the background on this was white. The colours haven't run in this, but they have faded from all of the fixing of the washing and what have you, and that's caused them to go quite yellow, which, you know, these things are devastating to me. This was an enormous amount of work making these quilts 3 times over, so it's all very sad that happened to it. However, I do love this version of the quilt because it's got so many beautiful fabrics in it. This fabric particularly, I just love all that. I've kind of repeated that all the way through, and I really love it. And it's also got some of my favourite fabrics over the years in it, the old Lizzie House bangles, which just never fails to be a spectacular fabric. I love this little pineapple that's hanging out in here. And again, I used a few of my own fabrics, so this is one of mine in there. It's always nice to look back at the fabrics and see what's in there. And it's interesting how the different fabrics and different treatments have completely changed some of the blocks. So they look so different when they're done in these different colourways than they do on the other quilt. They're all exactly the same. Oh, this is the other English paper piecing block. I knew there was another one. These ones are all EPP'd together. But it's fascinating how different a lot of the blocks look done in different fabrics. It's all exactly the same blocks. It's just completely different in character. So the only thing that's different with the borders is that these triangles are just large triangles. They're not pieced together on the outside. There's no circles. So you've kind of got the option to choose your own adventure with the borders a little bit. You can add the circles, not add the circles, piece the triangles, not piece the triangles. And then there are different things in the corners. So this quilt has this lovely little wavy circle with the heart inside of it. And the other one has the flower pots in the corners. Is that what was in the corners? Something like that. You'd think I'd know. I just looked at it 5 minutes ago. Yeah, so this is the pink version and the slightly simpler border version. And then the last version that I'm going to show you is again a completely different colour with a very, very simple border on it. And I used, on all 3, I've used a different colour tulle, just for fun. And here is version number 3. So this quilt I wanted to, because I've got the black with brights and then I've got pinks and softies and pretties. And then this one's kind of monotone. So all of the backgrounds are linens. They're all slightly different linens. Some have got spots, some are plain. I've got some lovely little sort of Japanese woven stripes in here and some little dobbies and what have you. Pretty much all of the backgrounds are linen of some description. All of the fabrics are blue with a little tiny pop of yellow here and there and a little tiny pop of hot pink. and that's it. Everything else is blue of some description. And then the border is the simplest border by far. It's a lot thinner, and I just have a really nice print and just a plain square. So the whole idea of it was supposed to be giving people different ideas for how to make the quilt, and then different levels of commitment to put into it. Because sometimes by the time you've finished all of the work that it takes to put into one of these, you get out here and you kind of lose your puff. So that was the idea of this whole situation. But it's funny, I always think of this quilt as being the lesser version because I love that black one so much, and then pink is my jam. But when I get it out and look at it like this, I actually love it in the plain, the blue on blue, and it would look fabulous in like black and white or red and white, or, you know, white backgrounds with red and green applique or what have you. And again, the blocks all look so different. I mean, look at this Hawaiian applique block with that Anna Maria Horner floral. It just looks so completely different than the others and so buzzy and vibrant. And yeah, there's a lot of fun opportunities for fussy cutting as well. You can see all the different little fabrics that I've got on here, and there's a little Emma Jansen magpie in there, and then you've got the Lizzie butterfly up here. All of my little leaves and what have you all have little animals and things in it. There's hairbrushes in the centre of this. It's just fun. It's a bit of fun. Oh, here's one of my other favourite goldfish fabrics. This is second to the other goldfish fabric that I showed you the other day. Anyone has this one hanging around, and you'll also be in an enormous amount of luck. Nobody has the other one. Nobody's contacted me with the other one. Sad. I think it's gone. Anyway, so this is the Happy Days quilt. The quilt that I'm designing at the moment, which has prompted me to get out one of the Block of the Month quilts for you, is for my 2027 Block of the Month, which is going to start in January of 2027. And without giving too much away, this year, or for next year, I will actually be revealing to you the quilt. So normally you just get the sketch. This time around, I'm going to be showing you the finished quilt, which is very unusual. It's going to be released in September at the Sydney Quilt Show. And I'm going to have the Block of the Month subscriptions open at the Sydney Quilt Show. So you will be able to see the quilt and subscribe to the Block of the Month. It won't start until January. And the quilt is a little bit different this time around. So you're going to see the finished quilt, but your quilt won't necessarily end up the same as my quilt. It's also a little bit choose your own adventure, more so than these quilts were. So it's a really fun little new idea that I've had for the bombs, and I'm really hoping that everyone's going to have a really good time doing it. In the meantime, if you want to try one of my Block of the Months, obviously all of the old ones are available as books. They all come with the video tutorials. The current Block of the Month, Swadki, which is inspired by Polish tapestry, is still running on my website. You can still sign up to it right until June, the end of June. And then after that, it will be a book. The book is also available for pre-order if you'd like to do that. And then straight after that, I have my small project program starting. So it's a little project like a bag or an apron or what have you, and a mini quilt pattern each month for 6 months. So that's also available at my website. So that's me for Down the Rabbit Hole for this week. I will see you next week when we probably, I think we'll go back to Material Obsession 2. We'll see what happens.